What's up, tens of fans? This is Trailer Talk. We are talking trailers. Joining me for our very first episode of this, I have on my right, your left, the venerable, the amazing, the sensational, Josh.
Hi. This is new and exciting, but it's not. It's different, but it's the same. It's exactly the same, but totally different. As you can see, we're in a car, but we're not moving.
Mm-hmm. And that's usually an honor I reserve only for myself.
Oh yeah, but here I am, stationary.
So in case you hadn't guessed by the shirts, we're going to be talking about the trailers and our initial, hopefully, excitement for Amazing Spider-Man 2. Josh, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm kind of on the fence about this. What do you think?
I really liked the first Amazing Spider-Man. As if anybody's seen the show before, you know, like, I'm a huge fan of Spider-Man. And the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy from early 2000s. I really liked the first one. I really liked the second one. And the third one was garbage. Was complete and utter trash. And so I was skeptical about, you know, the reboot, because they were rebooting, you know, like within a decade's time.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It hadn't even been 10 years since the last one.
So
the first one, I should say.
like the movie rights hadn't like shifted back and then got them again. Like Sony Pictures, like, we still got this. We should do something with it while we still have it. And I think they killed Sam Raimi. I haven't seen any films of his since, so I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Well, didn't he do? Wasn't it Drag Me to Hell? Wasn't that?
Yeah, I didn't watch that. I heard it was awful.
I'm assuming so because I haven't seen it either.
No, well, see, there you go. Well, so, you know, when they did the new one with, I don't know if he goes by Andrew or Andy. I don't know if I'm familiar enough with Andrew Garfield that I could call him Andy. I don't know. I've never met him, so I'm just gonna go with Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I don't think I've ever heard of him as being referred to as Andy.
Is it Andy?
I think that's maybe just a close circle of friends thing.
Yeah. He looks like if you called him Andy, he would be like, it's Andrew.
Yeah.
Bam. And I don't even know who directs the Amazing movies.
I don't recall either. I hadn't really paid attention to that.
Well, whoever it is, you did a good job with the first one.
Well, the thing that I was kind of iffy about with the first one was, one, being a remake. Most remakes in Hollywood, they are either totally pointless, they're totally horrible, or they're both.
Yeah, most of the time they're both.
Yeah. I mean, like, okay, one remake that kind of pops out in my mind that I actually did really enjoy a whole lot more than I thought it was the remake to Footloose. Did you get to see it?
I don't think I saw it in its entirety. I think I saw parts of it.
Well, the thing that struck me about that one, I was like,
this guy loves Footloose.
Soundtrack is like right back here in the CD case.
True story.
True story, I was there.
Yep.
But the thing that struck me about it was it kind of highlighted a few things that weren't done in the first one, just in some of the details that they reveal. Like, they actually reveal, like, what happened. I mean, you know that there was a car wreck and the girl's brother had died, but you actually get to see the accident.
Right.
And that wasn't in the original one because I think it was dubbed just too violent. But it made me remember what it was like to enjoy the original.
And that's what a remake should do.
And I think for the most part, that's kind of what the Amazing Spider-Man 1 did for me. But I had my gripes with it. One, I mean, I really did like Andrew Garfield. And I thought he did a great job with it. One of the things, well, I'll just go with the likes first. The things I liked was they had a lot more humor. See, Spider-Man to me has always been a smartass.
Yep.
He fights you with words as well as action. Like, even in the animated series that we watched the crap out of as kids, that really needs to go on DVD.
Yeah, they've only done like little chunks of it on DVD.
Yeah.
Like, they did, like, the Venom saga, and I think they did some other little things like that. But, yeah, there's only been, like, bits and pieces of it on DVD.
All the other series, Spider-Man series, they've put out on DVD, but the original, well, I say the original, it was the first one we ever watched.
It's the good one.
Yeah.
Because The Amazing Spider-Man and his friends is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
or Spider-Man and his amazing friends, or however it's worded. It was awful. It was bad.
I think they retitled it like a few times, trying to draw in more audiences, and it just kept failing.
Not good.
But I remember even back in the 90s series that he was always joking around and stuff. Like, I think there was an episode where he's fighting Tombstone, and he's like up on the ceiling, and he's like, come down here and fight me like a man, and he's like, I couldn't convince you to come up here and fight me like a spider, could I?
Yep.
But things like that, I felt like were really missing in the original trilogy. Or 2.5 movies, I guess, because 3. What the hell are you thinking?
So bad.
That's an entirely different video in itself. So I enjoyed the humor in it. I did like the fact that they brought back the technological web shooters.
Oh, yeah. And they did away with the hairy palms. He just, he sticks to walls. Why? Because he's a spider. That's what they do.
Yeah.
He's Spider-Man. He sticks to things.
I wasn't really happy with the way they did the Lizard. Not so much the character, because I thought the actor that played him was phenomenal.
It's true.
But I really didn't like the design.
His face, like the actual...
Yeah, his face, it was mushed.
It was mushed, because the Lizard from the comics and the 90s show that we're used to had more of a long, almost alligator-style head, but without being so long. Not like Leatherhead from Ninja Turtles long, but it was longer and
That's
more
a trailer
slender.
talk for another day.
Yeah. They also have mushed faces. We'll talk about that.
True story. It'll happen.
Oh, yeah. Foreshadowing.
Well, talking about this one, the second one, I'm just going to go ahead and say I absolutely hate the hair on Harry Osborn in the trailer. Emo hair!
They took the horrible emo hair of Peter Parker from Spider-Man 3
and put it on Harry.
Why? What is this influx of goofy, crazy emo hair? Harry Osborn always had slicked back hair. That's what he had. Slicked back. That's how he looked.
Well, even in the movies, it wasn't even slicked back, but it was still style.
Yeah. I mean, the James Franco was still up. It was poofy, but it didn't go forward at all.
Yeah. It wasn't hanging over your... Why did that become a thing, guys?
Get your hair cut. If you have to do this... You need a haircut.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Every time I see the trailer and it says, what were they doing? Well, isn't that the question of the day? I'm always like, no, the question of the day is why the hell does your hair look like that?
I'm sure you can afford a haircut. You're a billionaire son.
Yeah. Now, this is supposed to be based more along the lines of the Ultimate Universe, like the Avengers movies, even though...
It's done by Sony instead of Marvel Studios. I think Sony has been paying attention and going, well, the Marvel Studios are basing theirs off of Ultimate, and everybody loves those.
Yeah.
We should probably do that, not just have the director make up whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I was really glad to see in the trailer is the return of the classic suit. I think in this Spider-Man, he has the most similar to the comic book costume, because he doesn't have the weird goofy boots that go up to his knees, where it was more blue on his legs, and I didn't like the boot from the first Amazing.
More like sneakers than boots.
That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
In the newest one, it looks more like the traditional comic book suit, and also he's got the white eyes, whereas Sam Raimi's Spider-Man had more of an Oakley sunglasses.
Yeah, kind of like the Ray-Ban type of deal.
And he did that on purpose, and I was like, I don't like it. It's bad. And in this one, he looks the most like the original classic Spider-Man that we all know and love, because I don't know why. I mean, they did it in RoboCop. They've done it in each new director with Batman. I don't know why. And we even talked about it with Captain America. Why does somebody have to come out and they're like, this is what the character's supposed to look like that? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
That's what your Spider-Man looks like. my Spider-Man wears purple and has horns. You're like,
Yeah.
why does it have to be such a huge departure? I guess...
there's a difference between paying homage and having your own feel for it, and then totally kicking all that shit out the window.
Yep. Like, I understand wanting to make your own mark on the character and having your own design, but don't totally redo everything just because you can.
Great example in the Avengers universe. Captain America's costume, like the World War II one, I absolutely love that costume. It looks like something that would have come out of World War II.
Oh, yeah.
With the patches and the straps and the buckles and stuff. It looks badass. And that was the costume I was hoping he would have in the Avengers. But they had, one that was a little bit, I guess, closer to the comic that Phil Coulson designs for him. But it just looked kind of goofy on him. Everybody else's costumes, fit. I mean, like Iron Man, he looks perfect, like he jumped off the page. Hulk, well, he's just got his pants.
Yeah.
And, Black Widow was cool. Hawkeye's was simple yet cool. And Captain America just really stood out from the rest of them.
The only
and not
problem
so much
I have,
in a good way.
Yeah. The only problem I have with Hawkeye was that they've totally departed from the purple. Like, there's no purple on Hawkeye, which...
Yeah, even in like set photos, I mean, there's like some color there, but it's like super, super dark. Might as well be black.
Yeah, it just looks like black on black on black. Like black printing on black paper with black ink. Like, it's just black, black, black.
But if you look at the figures, they're all brightly painted. I'm like, you guys could have done that.
Yep. Just have, like, even little, like, purple highlights in the squishy parts,
Yeah.
But whatever.
Talking about the villains of the movie, we know that Electro's going to be in this, played by Jamie Foxx. I am perfectly fine with that. I love Jamie Foxx.
I too love Jamie Foxx, and it's kind of interesting, the matching the the Ultimate Universe. Like, Electro pre-Ultimate Universe was this goofy white guy that was a joke villain. He literally did diddly squat.
Yeah, it was like bright and green,
Yellow
like green and green. It was like 2-3 shades of green and the yellow and the ridiculous lightning bolt.
Oh yeah,
mask.
he was a joke. He was nobody.
I never took him seriously.
But in the Ultimate Universe, he is. They, once again, they did a racial swap. Which, who cares? I don't care. Whatever.
I didn't care when they did it to Kingpin.
I kind of cared about Kingpin. I don't care with Sam Jackson because Sam Jackson is actually the most accurate comic book character based on the Ultimate Universe, because the Ultimate Universe, Nick Fury, is based on Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
So it's like Inception. But the Ultimate Electro is a black guy and is like kind of a big deal. Like, he's really incredibly powerful.
Yeah. I mean, like, as much electricity as he can get his hands on, that's the more power he can draw.
So I think that that's actually going to be cool. Like, pre-Ultimate Universe Electro, if he would have been the main villain or just, one of several villains, it would have been like, oh, so he's the guy that's a joke.
Yeah.
But this time I think
he's the whipping boy.
Yeah, something really serious with it.
I know that the Rhino is in this, and the first thing I saw in the trailers when I saw, like, him, you only get, like, a couple of glimpses in the trailers that I've seen. He steps on screen, and there goes our sunlight, but who cares? I don't direct
fix
the
it
sunlight.
with magic.
So much I could do. Anyway, when he first comes on, I'm sorry, he looked like a Decepticon. He looked like a Transformer.
Which, talking about the character, costumes and stuff, I too have a huge problem with that, except for basically is how he looks in the Ultimate Universe.
See, I hadn't read any of the Ultimate comics involving Rhino, so I wasn't sure if that was...
Yeah. Instead of it being like just a dude in a rubber suit, it's like a mechanized battle armor tank that just so happens to look like a rhino thing.
Sure, why not?
So, once again, it's like the mixed feelings. There are a lot of mixed feelings. The mixed feelings of he's accurate for the universe they're trying to follow, which is not my childhood. Fix that. You should make everything look like the way my childhood thinks it should look.
Just consult the RoboCop review. here.
7-year-old Josh, this movie was boring. The guy had feelings and he whined and he cried like 1,000 times. And why does he have to have emotions? And his wife got sad and his kid got sad. And everybody has a pop-up that says, this person is scared and this person is sad and this person is scared and sad. Why didn't we just have stuff getting blown up all the time? You look stupid. Bingo. But, and then Green Goblin, some Goblin is going to be in it again, and that really makes me nervous, because
it kind of makes you think of Spider-Man 3, and they were trying to do way too damn much.
One of the big follies of Spider-Man 3 was 3 bad guys.
Mm-hmm. 3 bad guys,
this movie's gonna have
and they introduced Gwen Stacy. They had to introduce her father. They introduced
they just threw
Eddie
her
Brock.
in there. There was no point in Gwen Stacy being in 3. It didn't make any sense.
And then there was Eddie Brock being played by Eric Foreman in a Venom suit.
Yeah.
You want to feel that?
Yeah, that's something I never understood. Eddie Brock, like, his only hobby is working out and hating Spider-Man, and hating Spider-Man while he works out. So getting, 90-pound Topher Grace to play Eddie Brock made no sense whatsoever.
Because he's always been portrayed as a huge jock-type character that happens to know how to use a camera.
Absolutely. It crushed my dreams, and it was as bad as I had imagined from that point on.
Actually, I think it was worse, because wasn't it? It was you, me, Baker, and one other got together one night, and all we did was sit around a table and talk about how many reasons we hated Spider-Man 3. But you know what? I actually liked Sandman in that.
It's literally the only part worth watching.
Like Thomas Hayden Church, I've always been a fan of him. Lowell from Wings, love that show.
When I found out Thomas Hayden Church was going to be in Spider-Man 3, and that Spider-Man 3 was going to have Venom in it, I was like, oh, that dude's going to be Eddie Brock. Sweet, because he's huge.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, he's playing Sandman. And I was like, but Sandman sucks. But he did a really good job at Sandman.
That was the one time I actually gave a crap about Sandman. He was one of those characters that was... I just didn't give a crap about. Even in the animated series, I was just like, no, this guy's a joke. I'd rather take Rhino over him.
Oh, yeah. But had Spider-Man 3 had, only Sandman in it, dropped the entire Venom story arc, the Black Suit Spider-Man story arc, and, Gwen Stacy, and literally been Peter Parker Spider-Man versus Sandman, that would have been a movie worth watching.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they just tried to cram too much stuff in it. I'm afraid they're going to try to cram too much stuff into this one as well. Mm-hmm. They were going to put Mary Jane in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but they were like, oh, yeah, remember when we crammed everything into 3? Let's not do that again, and they dropped her. So I think that was
didn't they actually shoot a few scenes with her, too?
They did. I don't remember who they had playing her, but
yeah.
They did shoot a few scenes, and then those hit the cutting room floor, and that was probably a really good call.
Mm-hmm. And see, I really like, what's her name that plays Gwen Stacy?
Emma Stone?
Yes. Yeah. I really liked her as Gwen, and especially the fact that she wasn't just a damsel in distress. She contributed to the goings-on of the story. Mm-hmm. She wasn't just there to be a pretty face, and she actually blowtorches Lizard in the face with, what was it, like a lighter and...
yeah, like a aerosol can or something. Yeah.
But I was like, but she was being proactive.
Yep.
She was contributing. She wasn't just there for Parker to catch her.
She's the daughter of the chief of police. She should be somebody that does things.
Yeah, anybody that has ever worked in law enforcement, you're going to pass some of that training along to your kids. If you're in the military, or you're a rescue person, or a cop, or anything like that, you're going to pass down that kind of experience to your kids in one form or a few dozen. So, yeah, I really liked that.
Oh, yeah. And that brings me to my biggest mixed feeling. It was the same mixed feeling that I had in the first one, is, on the one hand, the comic buff, huge Spider-Man fan that I am, on one hand, I want Gwen to die, because, spoiler alert, this is 50 years ago, Gwen dies in the comic, and it's kind of a huge deal for Peter Parker, because A, everybody around him dies, and 2, Goblin throws her off the bridge. He uses his web to catch her, pulls her up. She's dead. He doesn't know, was she already dead when Goblin threw her off, or did him catching her with the web kill her?
Mm-hmm.
And so it, like, really screws with him.
Yeah, it haunted him, like...
Because he's like, it's like, you know, I wasn't able to save her, but also, was it me trying to save her that killed her?
Mm-hmm.
And so that messed him up for a while. So that's kind of a huge thing for Peter Parker's story. But on the other hand, Emma Stone is so hot. And I love Emma Stone. I've loved her in everything I've ever seen her in. And her playing Gwen Stacy, she has done a remarkable job.
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's the biggest conflict I have is I want her to die, but I don't want her to die.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with that because, I mean... Also on top of the whole emotional turmoil that Parker has to face because of that situation. But also, that's what paved the way for Mary Jane to come along. Was they kept hinting at this character off screen, or off page, off panel as it were, in the comics. And they just kept dropping these little hints like, oh, how about you go out with my niece Mary Jane? I don't think so. And then when you know, Stacy has been dead for a while, and Parker's like, I need to start dating again, so yeah, I'll take your niece out. And then he opens the door, and it's this super hot redhead, and she says, face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot.
And that was one of the big things, too, is that without the actual death of Gwen Stacy, it's like, well, you know, your aunt's trying to set you up with this girl. You know, Peter Parker's this nerdy guy, like, he's not going to be turning down dates left and right. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why he was turning down the chance to get set up with Mary Jane. That he was like, oh, well, if she is nice and I like her, I'll probably get her killed.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge conflict within him. But, changing gears, one of the things that I wanted to talk about on here was... One of the big reasons why I'm a fan of Spider-Man is, for the most part, Spider-Man's villains are tragic villains. Most of the villains in Spider-Man's universe did not pick to be villains. They didn't choose to be bad guys. They became bad guys from circumstance. And Electro in the Ultimate Universe is one of those guys. I really honestly don't know his origin story for, like, the pre-Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, I don't either.
But, you know, in this new one, it's a lab accident involving high amounts of electricity and, like, some eels, and he gets turned into this electricity guy. But he wasn't, like, a bad guy, and he didn't want that to happen. Like,
yeah, he was just like a generic everyman.
Yeah.
He was just, you know, going to work one day, and it's like, oh, shit happens, and apparently there was a lot of shit that hit him. But yeah, like with, even with like Doc Ock, or even Harry Osborn, the reason he starts to turn to evil originally, in any of the continuities, was the death of his father.
Yep.
Or the loss of his father. Because didn't he, like, disappear into some weird dimension in the animated series or something like that? He wasn't, like, actually killed.
Yes. Or actually, no. I think I want to say he actually did wind up dying in the animated series.
Oh, it's been
a long time.
It's been a little bit of time.
It's not on DVD. But I think he actually wound up dying. Either way, in every continuity, something happens to Norman Osborn where he's gone forever.
Doc Ock is one. Scorpion was kind of one. I mean, he was still kind of like a purse snatcher type, but it was like...
But he was never intending to be a supervillain.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he just fell into his circumstances. Yep. Same with Sandman, like we were talking about before, and that's why we liked him in the third movie.
Yep. Lizard from Amazing Spider-Man, like when he's Kurt Connors, he's a great guy, and when he's a lizard, he's a monster, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, it's a very Jekyll and Hyde type of deal, and those are characters, those are villains that you really, really enjoy. It's like, you don't want them to die. You want Spider-Man to actually save them. And there's a lot of supervillains out there that you're just like, kill them if you want.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're assholes. But people like Kurt Connors, and all these others, you want to see them be saved. And that was one of the powerful things, again, with the actor's performance that played him in Amazing Spider-Man 1, was that duality. Mm-hmm. Did you notice in the trailers that when he's walking through the section when they're talking about like the secret work that his father was doing, you saw like Doc Ock's apparatus, mm-hmm. You see the vulture arms, yep. or the vulture wings and stuff like that, and I was like, we're really trying to set up the Sinister Six with this, ain't we?
And as far as I've heard, I think that they're supposed to do a Sinister Six movie. Now, I don't know if that's going to be like a direct tie-in to another Spider-Man movie, or like how a standalone Sinister Six movie like is supposed to be done, to where if Spider-Man's like the only hero that's going to fight them, mm-hmm. or because I don't know, Sony just has Spider-Man, right? Like, they don't. As
far as I know,
they don't have the rights to anybody else.
Well, see, Marvel, they recently got back Daredevil, Blade, and Ghost Rider. Mm-hmm. They didn't have those for several years. They recently got those back. They're still trying to talk to Fox and Sony about getting Spider-Man and X-Men back. But obviously that's not working out too well. And on a side note, since we're talking about Marvel movies and battling franchise owners, Warner Brothers, what are you doing with Fantastic Four? What are you doing? Have you heard about like the cast? Besides my bitch rants on Facebook.
That's basically all that I've really seen, was that Sue Storm and Johnny Storm are not the same color.
I would be willing to accept that, except for the fact that no other rendition has ever done that, to my knowledge.
Not that I'm aware of, and the only reason why I could see them wanting to do that is, and this is probably not even what crossed their minds, but what crossed my mind, was that since Chris Evans played the Human Torch before, mm-hmm. and now he's playing Captain America, that they wanted... Basically, they got the most opposite guy that they could from Chris Evans. Like, there's literally no way that somebody would be like, is that the same guy that played him before that's Captain America now? It's like, no, that guy is like a 20-year-old black guy.
Well, like, even the other cast members, like, none of them look old enough for their roles.
Right.
They all look like teenagers.
Now,
even Mr. Fantastic, I don't know the names of any of them. They are all unknowns to me.
That's
that's pretty much like everybody I've talked to. It's like, who's this guy? I don't know. Who's this woman? I don't know. So I'm fearing for that franchise, and honestly, I like the last two. I like them just fine. The only real gripe that I had was, two gripes. Ben Grimm didn't have his trademark brow.
Yeah,
you know the thing. True. And he wasn't 10 feet tall. But we didn't have the CGI capabilities then to render out that size of a thing character and make it look good.
Yeah, it would have...
But we do now.
It would have looked like the Eric Bana... not Incredible, but the Eric Bana, the Hulk. Awful. It would have looked... like a cartoon superimposed with real people. Mm-hmm. The only other thing that I didn't like about the Fantastic Four was the Silver Surfer should have gotten his own movie. The Silver Surfer is so much deeper of a character
than they were portraying. Yeah, I agree totally. I mean, it was cool that they had him, but like you said, he's a big enough character that he can have his own movie. If Daredevil can get his own movie... I know you hate it, but I actually didn't. I'm sorry. I'm one of the 2 people that actually liked it.
I found it unwatchable.
I find Elektra unwatchable.
I didn't watch it.
Horrible.
So bad.
I think the only reason it's on my DVD shelf is it was $5 and someone got it for me.
That would do it.